Hello, and thanks for taking the time to watch this video. So sorry it's dark. I don't want to make this and take the photos, but I work all hours and I'm struggling to get this done in the daytime. It's got to be listed, so this is the only opportunity I've had. So I've got this Honda CB500S for sale, the S designating the semi-fairing. Sort of a commuter bike. I mean, you'll know about it if you're interested. 51 reg. Yeah, just got back from work. This is stone cold, so I'm just going to start it up. It's had a new battery. Choke on. It's got a fuel cog. Just make sure that's on. Yep. It is very cold at the moment. I'll just take the choke off. Let's put the choke off now. That's good. Right, and you can see it runs. It starts from cold. Okay, it doesn't go first push of the button, but it's a carburetted bike that's what's 51, 30 years old. Have I got my maths right? No, 20 years old, 22 years old. So but she does go. I mean, so if you can see my breath, it is fucking freezing out here. So but it does start up, it does run, and it runs smooth. So I'll get it pulled out and take some more videos and photos. So yeah, I just pulled it out and get the flash on. Yeah, it sort of takes about, I don't know, 20 seconds to get it started when it's stone cold and freezing cold out like it is now. I dare say in the summer, start straight up without any hesitation. But yeah, once it's started, I'll lift it in gear. Starts up nice, runs smooth. So yeah, she is what she is. Bit of background behind this bike. So I bought this as I sort of saved it really. It was going to be a bit of a project. Well, it was a project. It used to belong to one of my friends' mum, and she used to commute on this to London for years. I think she bought this brand new. She had this brand new, and it was always very well loved, always taken to the main dealer in Gillingham, I think it is. And she commuted on this for a few years, put 25,000 miles or so on it, and she had a bit of a prang on it, which knocked her confidence. It was only cosmetic, and it was repaired through the insurance by the main dealer, as she insisted. You know what these bikes are like, it only takes a little bit of damage to write the bloody things off. So I don't know what the damage was, but it must have been minimal for them to warrant repairing it. But say knocked her confidence, and she never got back on it. Sat in her son's garage for the next 5-8 years, whatever, and he always said he was going to do something with it or sell it. Being a carburetted bike, the carbs just gunged up and it became a non-runner. Anyway, several years down the line, they're now being evicted by their landlord, who they rent the house from, where they were storing this in their double garage, and they needed to get rid of it, unfortunately. So they sort of approached me and said, did I want to do something with it? They know I like to tinker with bikes, although this was a little bit above my pay grade, I must admit. So I haven't done the work on this myself. I've got the bike mechanic that I use to sort of do all the bits and bobs. The original plan for this was to give it to my dad, because he's going to be getting his bike license sometime this year. But that may have been put on hold because of a health issue that he's got. He may have to have surgery. So I think I just need to cut my losses and sell it. I mean, this undoubtedly owes me a lot more than what I'm going to get back for it. So where to start? So obviously it had been set up for a good number of years. The carbs have been removed, fully cleaned, ultrasound cleaned, you know, when they put them in the ultrasonic bath. The whole of the fuel tank's been off. It's had pet seal, coating of pet seal on the inside of the fuel tank. Yeah, the whole fueling system has just been completely overhauled. The tank was obviously drained and dried and pet sealed, and fresh petrol's gone through it, and everything's been cleaned. Fork seals have been done with new dust caps. The indicators actually perished all round just where it sat for so many years, the rubber, because they were on these sort of like original Honda rubber ones. So I've just got these LED ones, and they are hyper flashing. If the new owner wants to put some inline resistors to stop that, that's up to them. I'm not going to take the time to do that. But it has just gone through an MOT, and it come up as an advisory on the MOT that the indicators were flashing quite rapidly, but it wasn't a failure. So it's had a brand new battery. I haven't cheaped out. I didn't get sort of second-hand parts or anything. The only second-hand part I did get is this airbox, obviously, because there's a lot of stuff for this bike you can't buy brand new. This airbox, when you take that out, or it might be the other side, there's 3 nuts that are sort of captive nuts. And what happens on these bikes is quite common. Yeah, it's these 3. Is over-enthusiastic people over-tighten them, and there's a captive nut on the inside, and it spins round. So we had to sort of demolish the airbox to get it the filter out. So it's had a full service. It's had new oil filter, air filter, 2 spark plugs, sump plug, washer, the works. It has got the original. Well, I haven't changed the chain and sprocket, and it is looking a bit on the rusty side, to be honest. But it's cleaned and lubed and tensioned. So it didn't come up as an advisory on the MOT. So I don't know what else to say, really. I mean, it's good little runaround for someone. It's got a top box there. It's got heated grips, Oxford heated grips. It's a basic commuter bike. It's a 500cc. So yeah, 51 reg. It's all standard. You can see standard exhaust, original exhaust. If there's anything else I can think of to mention, I mean, obviously things like the brakes. All the brakes have been overhauled. All the calipers were seized and binding. They've been all stripped and cleaned and repaired. And the fuel cock for the tap on the petrol tank, that's been sort of repaired with a repair kit to replace the diaphragms and everything. So the only thing I do need to mention is there is a bit of a flat spot when you accelerate. So it rides fine from 0 up to about 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, and then there's just a little bit of a flat spot between 5 and 7 where it just feels like it's hesitating to pick up speed. Once you get past about 7.5, it really, screams up to the red line without any hesitation or anything like that. So I'm hoping that will, bearing in mind that the whole fuel system has been completely stripped and cleaned, I'm hoping that's just some old cobwebs that will blow out through just general use. Yeah, it is what it is. Probably won't put a reserve on it. I'll just list it up at £1 or 99p or whatever and see what she goes for. I mean, the bike, with what I paid my friend for it and what I've spent on it, probably owes me over £1,000. Whether I get that back or not remains to be seen, but it's got to go. So yeah, as I say, apart from that flat spot issue, around between sort of 5 and 7,500 revs, which I'm hoping will sort of cure itself. I've got premium petrol in there at the moment because I have heard, especially on these older carburetted bikes, is you're using the new E10 fuel, and if it sits around for too long, the fuel can sort of congeal and gunge up in the carburetors. So it's got premium E5 in it. It'd probably be alright using E10 on it on a day-to-day basis, but I didn't know that I was going to give it the use daily, so I didn't want to risk stripping all those carbs, having them cleaned and balanced and ultrasonic, you know, bathed and reassembled and everything, and then go to all that trouble and find that they clog up again just through putting shit fuel in it. But as I say, the tank's been drained and cleaned, and there's an sort of like an aftermarket inline fuel filter that's been put in the fuel system. I don't know if you can see it. It's sort of, yeah, you can see it there, just that sort of orange just coming out of the tap, out of the cock there. So that's about it really. Don't know what else to say. Everything works on it. Good little bike, cheap bike for someone. Okay, have a bid. Thanks, good luck. Just want to, sorry, before I go, draw attention to the fact you got to remember this bike's over 20 years old now. And it's by no means crusty and cruddy. All right, the springs are showing a little bit of rust there, and there's a bit of sort of surface rust in places, but you know, look, generally, and I haven't cleaned this bike, this has been really looked after. It's been garaged, and there's a bit of pitting on the paintwork on the engine covers, and it's sort of bubbling on underneath the paint on there, and so you know, the paint's faded on, particularly the plastic as opposed to the metal tank. The plastic's faded in places. Oh, especially there, it's almost silver. But you know, for a bike that's over 20 years old, a bit of rust there. You know, it's, on the whole, given its age and mileage, I think it's in reasonable shape. So it's literally just had a 12-month MOT put on it, so we're good to go.